Maybe you failed in life or failed at your business or feel like you failed, or one didn't work out and now you're at another attempt at this, right?
At a pivot.
Yes, that beautiful word that I love, right? Love and hate all at the same time. So one of the things that we've shared previous in one of our previous episodes is that we've tried a lot of businesses together. And I think that is healthy for us as couples. You're trying to figure out what you're good at, what you're not good at. There's a lot of nuances that happens. First of all, if you're married, you got that aspect, but now you're building a business together and you kind of got to figure out what your strengths and your weaknesses are. And so the first kind of direction I want to go into is just for those particular couples that, starting over can actually feel like failure, but it isn't.
Okay.
And so I know for me personally, I was like, not another thing. Us trying again. I was looking at it as like, okay, we tried this. I said yes to a lot of the projects that he wanted to start. And so we've done quite a few things. The only thing that was probably stable was because I already had a salon business. So that was stable. But us doing something together, that was finding the nuances and starting over, and why, to me, it felt like failure. But I needed to redefine what failure looked like.
Okay.
And then for you, what was it look like for you? Did you ever feel like all of the businesses that we were starting felt like failure?
No.
Why not?
No. We started it and we completed it. Just because if you see something from the beginning to the end, I wouldn't necessarily call it a failure. Who in whose eyes is it a failure?
I think it was more for me.
Yeah, I don't see it as a failure. I started something, I finished it, I completed it. And because we didn't make tons of money from it, is that the reason why it's a failure? And that's the only thing I can think of on why someone would think that business is a failure. Also, I would also add that a lot of people have a habit, or we as humans have a habit we start a business, and if it doesn't go our way within 6 months to a year, then we give up on that business. So because it's not going the way we thought it would go, or because there's so many ups and downs, or you don't have the money to keep bootstrapping that particular business. So I wouldn't say everything that we've started is a failure because we ended up finishing it.
Yeah.
I think the failure comes in starting it and then not finishing it.
I think for me, I had to redefine what failure looked like because I had started doing hair and it yielded a result right away. So for instance, I do a client's hair, they love it, I get paid. That's it, right? And rinse and repeat. When we were trying to find a business, or when we were starting a business together, there was no immediate results. And so I had to kind of shift my mindset of what failure really looked like and started seeing it as, okay, that didn't work. It's really not a failure. It's a learning lesson. But that took me some time to develop that language.
But isn't failures on what millionaires and billionaires are made from? Failures.
All the time.
Yeah. So.
But you got to remember, like I said before, entrepreneurship becomes a mirror of what you don't deal with internally.
Okay.
It will always show up in one way or another. So for instance, for me, what was showing up was we're starting something that is out of my comfort zone, that's out of my wheelhouse for us together. And we're about to go on this journey of, to me at that time, I'm like, okay, here we go again. Let's try this again.
But try what again?
So we were trying, when we did the t-shirt line, that launched. It's
an apparel line. Not just
an apparel line. That launched. I was on board. I went to school for fashion merchandise management. And so when he dreams real big, y'all. He's like, we're going to get 20 pieces. I'm like, no, you don't start a line with every color under the sun. You start off with a, with 3 colors, 3 work ways, and that's for this particular launch. Then you build up a client list or whatever. So a lot of the things he would listen to me, but we were not at a place where we would listen to each other or trusting each other in a decision making. It was a lot of like pull.
I got a question. Yeah. Well, go ahead and keep going with the list first, and then I'll ask you my question.
Oh, so we did that.
Okay.
You started a podcast before, right? Because I wasn't on board. So he just like, forget it. She taking too long. I'm going to just go do it. And you go right ahead. Go through that.
And it was an audio podcast, but then producing it and editing it. And it's a lot.
The hair care product line, which it is not a dead thing. It's just a not now, right? Because that's always going to be my passion project. I still love the hair industry, but not from that particular angle. But I digress. So that got put on pause. I wouldn't say that it did feel like a failure a little bit because I thought I knew a lot in business and I launched that and didn't really steward the place we were at that time. So that was that. What else? Oh, we started a cleaning business.
Okay.
That would have been popping.
That would
have been popping. And here's the thing. When we launched that business, I had clientele that already needed, like they had multiple houses. They were in the short-term rental space. And because of the relationship of me being the hairstylist, I was like, sure, we'll hire your company. Fine. Let's just do a trial run. You tell me what your price is. We negotiate it. That's fine. He goes and does the first job with another family member of ours. And they were like, they did beyond what I could ever think, dream, or imagine. This is like a match made in heaven. And he was like, I'm not doing it. It's like, what? You're not going to do it? And thank God that particular client of mine, he understood. He was like, it's fine, whatever. But one of the negotiating things that's like a value for you was like, I would always have to work the weekends. We can never go to church as a family.
Right.
And so in the beginning of that business, he needed to work that business. And that just was not something at that time we wanted to sacrifice.
The family value.
The family values. But at that time, I'm like, go make that money. My mom was not on Jesus right. I wasn't right, y'all. Was not right. I was like, go make that money and let's get this going and popping, because we would have had 2 businesses that were thriving. But they were 2 service-based that would have definitely pulled us apart and not brought us together. And so even though at that moment I was like, that I wasn't feeling it. I had a little tood, y'all. Yeah. But it wasn't the right thing. So even though at the time I didn't see it. What else did we do? Then we did the coaching business.
Right.
We did the media business. Mm-hmm. And all of those played a part into each other. They were very healthy for where we are today.
It is, because it gave me the education that I needed. If I would have never started that media company, I wouldn't be as deep as far. Well, any of those businesses that we started wouldn't have given me the education or helped me go and research, because we were bootstrapping and it was just you and I.
Yeah.
And we couldn't afford a team to build websites or to do that or put together this, or, it helped me learn new things.
And every website that he ever built for me, or, for our businesses, they were like, who built this? Like, it was always like from professional people. They always said, this is really good. Like, they were like, you don't need anything. Maybe you need like more copy or whatever.
Better copy.
But the aesthetics SEO. And the flow, the SEO, which is things that were like missing from the back end. But as far as like the look of it, you would think that someone professionally built it. So he's built me a lot of websites.
Yeah.
But it was really good. So now he can do a website with no time. So those are reps. And I had to understand that what I was identifying as failure were reps to get us to a place of where we are right now. And we're still learning, and we're still on that wheel of learning, but it was very, very healthy. So I definitely don't call it failure now, but I call them reps. Like if you're in the gym and you're working out, you want that 6-pack automatically, but it takes time to actually get that. Got to get put in your reps. You got to eat right. You have to do certain things. So don't look at it.
The apparel line is not gone. It might be a different name, but I am working on something that's a passion project or a creative project of mine. I'm trying to do on the back burner, more on that later on. But yeah, the apparel line or having an apparel line is not
Yeah. And my hair care I'm always going to be a part of the hair industry.
Okay.
I get asked all the time, mama's getting a little older and hair changes as you get older and stuff like that. So it's just, I think those are things you just have to prioritize what's in this season. So right now it's about you and I, and those particular projects can come. It's just not a right now. So they're on the shelf, but they're not forgotten about. So I had to re-identify what failure really looks like in my life.
Okay.
So here's the thing that I want to kind of like talk about is the challenges of letting go of the old ideas. How, for me, I already know. What are you messing with my mind? No, because I'm not talking into it. Yeah. The challenges of letting go the old ideas. Because a lot of times you come to the table, you have this idea, business is problem solving for somebody, right? You're solving some particular problem. And I think that letting go of the old idea wasn't working. That pivot sometimes feels like the stretching is hard. I know for me, I just wanted to stick to something long enough and say, okay, at least we fail, or we tried it long enough. I couldn't let go of the old version of myself, if I'm going to be very transparent with you guys. It was very hard for me to let go of the one version of being a hairstylist and a salon owner I was a salon owner for 10 years, but I've been a hairstylist since I actually graduated when I was out of high school. So I did that for most of my life, very similar to you coming out of the Marine Corps. He did that straight out of high school. So both of us had to let go of the old version of what that business looked like or that season of our lives. And so when you tie that into your business, when you don't want to even though I was like, okay, I wanted more time freedom.
Well, I've never let go.
No, because they have this motto, once a Marine, always a Marine, right?
It's true. So.
What's y'all little saying y'all say?
No, don't worry.
Okay, all right. They got a special language over there. You got a lot of abbreviations, but I'll divert back. One of the things of the old idea that I couldn't let go, I couldn't understand the online business and the brick and mortar business. To me, it felt so much easier to build an offline business.
A brick and mortar.
A brick and mortar is so much easier, in my professional opinion. And maybe because I come from a different era, that this online space, it was just, I don't know.
I think, looking back, I don't think it is any much easier. I think if we didn't bring in someone and at an early stage and we kept on the journey, just you and I together, I think it would have went differently.
I would agree. I think a part of that, the old version of that particular business, was I was trading my time for income. And I couldn't see clearly how to monetize the years of experience that I have in business, the strategies that I put in place that works, whether they're online and offline. That old version, I couldn't see that. And I think that hindered me to some degree, and also played with the confidence that I had. I couldn't let go of that, which is why I kept one foot in. I think once you're a hairstylist, very similar to the Marines, you're always a hairstylist. That's the foundation of your introduction to, and that's whatever you guys are doing, whatever you did in your life or whatever it is in your business that you guys are building, whatever that foundation, it sometimes won't be that way 10 years from now, 5 years from now. So I think keeping an open mind to letting go quicker is easier in business when you can just say, okay, that didn't work, move on. I'm not saying have like ADD when it comes to like, everything you got to have a swirl.
When do you move on? How do you know when to move on?
I go back to the relationship with God, because I feel like if every door is closing and you are still trying to bust through those doors, and it's like how much smoke and mirrors or anything like that, then it's time. So I'll tell you guys this. When I was doing hair and I became a mother, one of the prayers I prayed, I was like, there's no way that I've been great at doing hair for so long. How you blessed me with these children. I want more time freedom, but I just don't know what that looks like. And I was praying. I read a journal that I wrote after I had Journey in 2017. It's still like in my notes. And I prayed for that. When God allowed me to have time freedom, I did not like it. When I realized that I got time freedom, I was pissed. So I'm like, I'm just in this house. I'm cooking, I'm cleaning. I have all this time. And we had coaching clients at the time.
Okay.
And I was like, I wasn't even satisfied. It's like the one thing, sometimes you're so busy.
Is it because you weren't making the same amount of money that you were making as you?
Part of it. That can definitely be part of it. But I don't think it was so much of that. I just had so much time that I didn't know what to do with the time. And a lot of times, I know I keep saying time, but I think one of the things that, like, when you're praying and you're asking God to elevate you, you're asking God to strengthen your marriage, all those different things, sometimes you're not even aware that he already answered the prayer because you haven't changed your mindset. Your mindset is stuck on the old. And if it's stuck on the old, you don't even know that you're sitting in the very thing that you just prayed for. So I prayed, I want more time with my kids. I want more time for Terrence and I. Here we got all the time in the world. I was doing one coaching call, a group coaching call on a Monday, and was free the rest of the week to do whatever. But I felt that I couldn't I got to be doing something next. I wasn't rinsing and repeating the very thing that was working. I wasn't doing that. I kept feeling like, oh, we should do this. I kept coming to him with every other idea. Well, maybe we should do this because these people are doing this. And he's like, get offline. Just do what's working for you right now. But I had too many voices, number one, in my head. Number two, I also couldn't let go of the old version. Like, you work 8 hours. I'm not working 8 hours. It's like I was probably working a 4-hour work week, and then creating content was only a couple of hours. So it was all this time. So letting go of the old version, I think, was sometime I felt like I was clinging to that for sure.
Okay.
So for you, how was it letting go of the old version of those businesses? Like, me as my spouse, how was it watching me go through that letting go of that old version?
A little bit of irritation. Irritating. Yeah.
You was irritated with me. He handled it real good.
Irritated. I mean, just because you're irritated with someone doesn't necessarily mean you got to be irritated to the point where it jeopardizes or messes up with the relationship. That's just one aspect. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm irritated, but it doesn't spill into the rest of the day or the rest of you. It's just that one piece of you that I was irritated about. So.
Okay, so he was irritated.
So.
That's fine. I mean, you handled it very well.
But it can go vice versa. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I'm sure you were not just, it was a lot that you were irritated with in that time frame, because I had no inkling or no idea what I was going to do at that point. And dealing with that process was not only hard for me, but hard for you. So.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely was challenging, but it didn't stop me from loving us as a couple. We still did all the things that we were doing, going on dates. We still went away. We still prioritized. We still did stuff with the kids, even though it was a little bit of a struggle bus over here. Dragging him like, let's go do this. And you're such a creature of habit that we just went to the same places that he enjoyed when we lived in California. So, but it was, I don't know. Let me know in the comments how it is for you when you have to let go of something. Does it happen easily for you, or which party in your relationship, who is the culprit that don't want to let go of stuff? Because one of the two don't want to let go of something. And if it's both of y'all, I'm gonna pray for y'all. That's what I gotta say. Because it's not easy if it's both of you.
No.
For sure.